Hello everyone, thanks for joining me. So I have a question for you. I don't know if you celebrate Easter, but if you do, what is your favorite Easter candy? I mean, the shelves right now in the stores are packed with Easter candy. Um, and even if you don't celebrate Easter, I mean, you might love some of the Easter candy that's put out there. Um, I mean, there's like the marshmallow peeps, and then there's the lint gold bunnies. There's jelly beans, and then there's like everything in between. There's the fine chocolates, and then there's the cheap chocolate. And quite honestly, I think sometimes cheap chocolate gets a bad rap because honestly, I love to have some Hershey's Kisses. I love to have a Mounds bar. Oh God, I love Mounds bars. And my tip-top favorite candy bar is a Baby Ruth. Oh, how can you not like a Baby Ruth? It's got nuts in it. It's got caramel. It's got chocolate. I love it. I love it all. I'm a big fan of chocolate. Not everybody is. I used to work with a woman who hated chocolate. I don't get it. How can you not like chocolate? I know you're out there. You don't like chocolate, but oh boy, you don't know what you're missing. So I don't know what your favorite is, but I just thought that with Easter almost upon us, and by the way, I'm not exactly sure how we went from a religious holiday to Easter bunnies laying colorful eggs. I mean, look, let's face it, Easter bunnies don't lay eggs, but at Easter time they do, and they leave eggs and chocolate for all the kids. So here's my Easter card. Today's plan, consume chocolate. And that's how it's going to be. So let me show you how I made this card. I started with, and I'm going to show you the elements of it, and then I'll break it down. So I'm using Bermuda Bay, typical the way that we typically cut it, but for any beginners, you want to take a piece of cardstock. Now, as I said, this is Stampin' Up's Bermuda Bay, but you can pretty much use whatever cardstock you happen to have on hand, because whatever I show in my videos, you're not, it's not cast in stone. Please use whatever it is that you have, and whatever colors you have, whatever designer series paper you have. Don't feel like you need to run out and start buying stuff. As you saw in one of my other video about me buying a ton of stuff that I didn't use. I want, and believe me, this is the dawn of a new day for me, of not buying everything that I see. I'm gonna pace myself. So I want you to do the same. Use what you have. Whatever the colors are. Could be crazy colors. Go ahead and use them. Who cares, right? There are no rules in card making. So this one, though, just so you know, in case you have it and you want to use it, Bermuda Bay. And I cut it at 8.5. This is 8.5. And so I used the 8.5 by 11 paper, right? So this is 8.5 by 8.5 by 5.5. All right, I'm having a brain cramp. I know you're all yelling at me going, how can you not know this by now? Because you say it so many times that you actually like go, am I doing this right? 8.5 by 5.5. Then you score it at 4.25. So you can make a card, portrait style card, or you can make it a landscape card. We're gonna make it into a portrait style card. So that was a long story, wasn't it? Now I'm going to show you, this is the next layer, which is just an early espresso, because I thought it would be, it matches the color of chocolate. And so this one is just going to be 1/4 inch smaller all the way around. So you'll cut this one at 5.25 this way by 4 inches, right? So when you put it on the card, you'll see you have a little border all the way around. Then on top of that, for the layer on top of that, I used actually a retired paper, designer series paper, 6x6 is called Oso Ombre, and it was in the was in the, was it the holiday catalog? No, it was in the last Celebration. The last Celebration offering, which ended in March. And I really liked the papers that came in a lot of different colors, including the Bermuda Bay. If I can get this out. All right, so it had the Bermuda Bay and the, because it's ombre, it means that it's, gradient, and so it goes from darker to lighter. But it comes in, I think this is the Granny Apple Green. We have some really pretty colors, and this one I think is the Balmy Blue, very pretty. So for this card that I made, I just used the solid gradient paper. But for this card that I'm going to show you, just for the sake of comparison, or just to do something a little different, I'm using the one that has a pattern, because it almost, they're circles, but it almost look kind of like eggs. So this one also gets cut 1/4 of an inch smaller all the way around. So while this one was cut at 5 1/4 by 4, this one was cut at 5 inches by 3 3/4. So when you put that on, it will also be have a border around it. Then for the top layer, I use the dies. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to buy these dies. This is Scalloped Contours, and it's part of the, let me get it, Color and Contour bundle that I had bought in the catalog. And this is going to be carried over into the, I'm pretty sure it is, into the new catalog. Not as a bundle though, they'll still both be available, but separately. The bundle is gone away, so you won't get a 10% discount, but you'll still be able to buy them. So in the coordinating Scalloped Contours dies, you get these great frames. And so, let's see, I pull out, which one did I pull out? This one, I'm pretty sure. Oops, there's a bunch of different sizes. This one, I think this is the second largest. Yeah, that's the one. If you don't have these dies, you can just cut with your paper trimmer. You know what, let me just quickly get my ruler and I'll tell you what the size is, because I actually don't know. So this measures 4 1/4, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 3/8. 4 3/8 long, and then we have 3 1/8 wide. Okay, 4 3/8, 3 1/8. Okay, generally you can cut it whatever size you want, but that's the size of this particular die. So I'll set that aside. I already cut it because honestly I don't feel like it's all helpful to you to watch me cut anything on camera. What's the point of that? All right, let me set this aside over here. And the sentiments that I used, the Happy Easter is from Easter Friends, and this is in the mini catalog, the January to June mini catalog. And the only one I'm going to use, the only sentiment I'm going to use is Happy Easter. And then the chocolates and the rest of the sentiments is from Nothing's Better Than. This is going to be carried over into the new catalog. This is not. This one is going to retire, but this one is going to be carried over. And it comes with dies, right? And I think I've shown you before this magnetic sheet. This is great. This is by Stampin Storage. And they come in 5x7 sheets, and I think they come in larger sheets too, like 6x6. They're great because rather than having your dies flopping around in the case willy-nilly, you know, they stick to the magnetic sheet, and they're on chipboard, so they're not just a floppy piece of magnet. They're pretty sturdy, and I can include a link to that in the description below. But just in case you were wondering, like, what is it she has her dies on, just wanted you to know they're made by Stampin Storage, and I really love them. And I always end up buying a ton of them. So that's what those are. So this comes with a stamp set and dies. All right. So I'm going to start out by stamping the Happy Easter sentiment on this paper with Bermuda Bay ink. Oops, let me put that over there. Now again, it just happens to be the colors that I chose, but understand, again, choose whatever colors you have. Doesn't matter, whatever you happen to have on hand. All right, so let's see if I can do this without smearing it. Let me move that ink pen out of the way, because honestly, I'm famous for sticking my whole arm in it. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Okay, so I got a smudge up there, but you know what? I'm going to leave it because I'll put a little gem dot over it. Because that's what we do, right? You can make a little smudge on there as long as it's nothing bad. Excuse me. You can put a gem dot over it or something. All right, that's all we're going to do with that stamp set. We're done. Now, let me move over to the next part of it. Is we're going to put, today's plan is to consume, let me see, today's plan, here it is. Of course, all this talk about chocolate, and I have to tell you, all this, when I was saying like the candy that I really like, I haven't bought any, which is rather remarkable for me. I've stayed away from the Easter candy, and honestly, because if I had it in the house, I'd go through the whole bag. There is no pacing myself. If I buy like a bag of Hershey's Kisses all in those pretty foil colors for Easter, of course, and I say, oh, I'll have like 2 a day. Yeah, forget it. I'll eat through the whole bag in about 2 days. I don't know how many comes in a bag, but yeah, they'll all be in my stomach. All right. So I'm stamping this one, today's plan to consume. I'm doing it in the same Bermuda Bay. Oh, I heard something. I saw something online that was funny about Easter candy, and it was a quote by Bill Maher. It was so funny, and it said, he had said, probably during one of his stand-up routines, if they did an x-ray of his stomach, they'd probably find undigested marshmallow peeps and other Easter candy in his stomach. And not just from this year, but from 1962. I said, oh God, that made me laugh. All right, so no, I don't need this early espresso quite yet. I'm going to put the stamp away that I just stamped. And what I did was I used the die for this die, which is chocolate. It says chocolate, right? And so I die cut it on early espresso cardstock, right? And then what I'm going to do is I am going to use my silicone craft sheet. This thing is awesome. If you want to use it to, use your glue on it and nothing sticks to it. So I have a little bit of glue that I have up here, and when I'm done, I'm going to just run it under the sink and just rub it off, and it comes right off. So nothing sticks to it. So what I'm going to do is put a little glue on the back of this die cut sentiment. So I'm putting a little bit of liquid glue on the craft sheet. And I have one of these little sponges. I think I got it at the dollar store. I think I got a few of them. You just dab it, and then you just dab your die cut sentiment. Because, you know, you probably have had like intricate die cuts. And like, then you're trying to, you know, aim the tip of the glue bottle on it, and what a mess, right? Okay, so now I'm just going to lay it onto the cardstock. And that way you don't end up with like glue oozing out everywhere. There we go. How's that? Now for the candies. Now on this one, what I did is I did it on a piece of paper and then I die cut them. But you know what? I don't know if I need to really do that. So I'm going to do it directly onto the cardstock. So I'm going to say a little prayer that I don't mess it up, because I was doing some testing, and it's because it's one of the photopolymer, if I have it correctly, right? Yeah, these are the photopolymer stamps. You have to use, I use my, what do you call it? It's like a spongy pad to stamp it, and it gives it some cushion. And that way I have a better shot at getting the stamping correct. All right, I'm going in. Hold on. Giving it a good press. Oh yeah. All right. So I'm happy with that. All right. I'm going to wash my stamp, because for any of you newbies out there, it's important that you clean your stamps after you use them. If you don't, you'll end up with dried ink. If you go to use another color, it ends up a mess. Clean stamps will last longer. All right. Now I'm going to actually, all right, so I'm going to put that one away, and I'm going to use this is two-step stamping. So there's another one that has like, you overlay it, and you can probably see it looks almost like a drizzle that you would put on the top of the chocolates. So I'm going to use the same early espresso ink. See if I can get it, line it up correctly without getting my head into the camera. Am I doing this right? Okay. I might be a little off on my alignment. We'll see. Yeah, I am off on the alignment. Oh, that's okay. Not the end of the world. I'm giving the card to a friend tomorrow. Tomorrow anyway. And she understands how it is. She's a card maker too. This two-step stamping stuff, honestly, to be 100% honest, I'm not great at it. My alignment is usually off, but I always give it a try. All right, so that's it. So we can start putting it together. That's really all the stamping that's required. Okay, let me move that sponge out of the way. Okay, now we will lay down, put some liquid glue. And this, I mean, if you prefer the Stampin' Seal or whatever you want to use, that's fine. I like the liquid glue because it has a little bit of forgiveness, meaning that it allows you, when you put it down, it allows you to move it around a little bit in case you got out of alignment. But in the event you tack it down and it really is like screwed up, watch my other video about how to unglue or your layers and using this stuff, undo. It really does work, and it's made with a petroleum product. So although the cardstock looks wet when you do it, set it aside, and it doesn't take very long for it to just evaporate. And then you can just tack down your layer all over again, and you'll be fine. So watch that video. That video was, I think, 1 minute and 7 seconds. So not a lot of time out of your day to watch it. Oh, I'm almost tacking it down wrong because I'm not paying attention. All right, now we're going to tack down the Designer Series paper. Okay. Kind of like this, the fact that it's got a design on it versus, I mean, this one is nice too. I like it. But I like that this one has a design on it. Okay. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and tack this layer right down. You can use dimensionals and pop it up a little bit if you want. But I'm not doing that this time. I just want to keep it super easy. And not have to tell you to break out a whole bunch more supplies. Now, you could also have tied, you know, a little ribbon around it before you tack it down. But like I said, I'm just keeping this super simple. Okay. And the gem dots that I'm using are the Rhinestone Waves Basic Jewels. This came with that suite with the Ocean Waves, you know, the stamp set and the Designer Series paper. So I'm just using these gem dots. I'm going to put 2 here. And I'll put one, a little one over here. It's the law of 3s. For some reason, our eyes like to see things in 3s. Like when you're planting in your garden and you're putting plants in, you should plant them in 3s, in groupings of 3s, like in the triangle. Am I doing this right? Yeah, like a triangle. And for some reason, that has more visual interest. Whoop, I just banged it with my head. So that is the card. Now, I'm not going to bother with the inside. I'll show you what I did with the other one. I didn't have a sentiment that I couldn't find one that I thought would go with this, so I just left it blank, and I stamped the chocolates on the inside, and I will just go ahead and write my sentiment to my friend on the inside. And that's it. That's as simple as it gets, right? Super easy. So I want to wish you all a happy Easter, and don't eat too much chocolate. Enjoy your day. Bye.